Right, so there were some leaks suggesting the M2 iPad Pros would release at the September event, but of course, the event has wrapped up and there was no iPads at the event, and so lots of you guys might be wondering, when are we going to see these M2 iPads? Well, let's delve into it. So it's pretty straightforward actually as to when we're going to see these iPads release, because Apple generally has two events in the fall, a September event and an October event, and so yeah, since we did not see iPads in September, we're going to see those release in October instead. And yes, actually Mark Gurman did tell us about this, so my bad, I should have believed his report. But really the big reason why I thought there was a chance we could see these M2 iPads at the September event was because number one, we did see Amazon case listings for these iPads releasing on the 7th, which of course was the date of the event, but also more importantly, there were retailers suggesting the release was about to happen. So yes, in case you weren't aware, Australian carrier Optus had listings for the 2022 iPads in their internal stock keeping system. Now these were very different to the 2021 listings, and so these were clearly referring to new models. And also the SKU mentioned was a space grey 4th gen 11-inch iPad Pro, which of course has not yet released. Now there was no stock of the 2022 iPad Pros, but staff had been placing orders accidentally for these iPads, and they were told stock would arrive within 2 weeks, and so yeah, that to me was the biggest piece of evidence that yes, we could see these iPads at the September event. Then again, maybe that's a default answer for any item that's out of stock, and yeah, clearly since we don't have these iPads, maybe that is the case. But I do still wonder, why are there listings within this internal database for these new iPads when the release is not taking place till October? But anyways, Gurman is right, we should see these iPads launch at the October event, and as for a date we could see the event take place, I do think that much like James does suggest in the comments, we could see this event take place close to the iPhone 14 Plus launch, because in the past, when products have been delayed, Apple likes to reconfirm those dates on stage for consumers. They did this with the iPad Air 4, which of course was revealed at the September event, but later the release was confirmed at the October event with the iPhone releases, and in fact it would not surprise me if you could order the iPads and the new Macs on the same date the 14 Plus is available. So yes, only a few weeks away till the potential release of the M2 iPad. Now I do want to mention two things. Number one, we could see a price increase with the iPad Pro models according to the Optus listings, because the Australian pricing is $2,100, and that's $200 more than the previous gen iPad Pro, and of course a similar spec. Now in terms of US dollars, that's roughly a $100 increase, and while considering this is a listing for the 11-inch iPads, maybe we're going to see mini LED with this iPad, hence resulting in a price increase. Because if we don't get that, like the rumors does suggest, I doubt there's going to be price hikes with these models, especially when many of us thought that of course the iPhones were going to get more expensive in the US, but that was not the case. Then again, with the iPhones, Apple has screwed international consumers with major price increases, and considering this is a listing from Australia, maybe that's the case with the iPads, but the prices in the US stay exactly the same for the most part. Now another thing I want to mention is actually a concept I saw of dynamic display coming to the iPads. It does look great, and actually while this has not been rumoured, I do think we could see this because Apple does usually have a 3-year cycle with their designs, and considering the 2018, the 2020 and the 2021 iPads have been the same for the most part, maybe we do see a redesign with this iPad with maybe thinner bezels, and of course dynamic island to house the cameras and the Face ID sensors. And I'm praying that if Apple does do this, they do also move the cameras to the landscape position, because that's been a rumour for a while and that would be a great change for these iPads. Then again, the charging strip for the pencils right above where the camera would be on the iPads if it was in landscape, and so there is a chance Apple does not do that because of space constraints. Either way, this would be a nice feature for the higher end iPads to adopt, and it would definitely help those iPads differentiate themselves from the rest of the range. Oh, by the way, I'm also hoping for actual exclusive Pro features at launch, because when we're getting the M2 chip and also 24 gigs of RAM with these iPads, I'm hoping that Apple can justify this by, of course, actually giving us more macOS-like features like Pro apps. And actually, since Apple's delaying the release of iPadOS, I am praying this iPad does get more software features. And yeah, depending on the features, I can see the upselling consumers. Oh, by the way, for those wondering about production updates, production is now back up and running because the power outages are over in China, but of course, since they did miss out on weeks of production for these iPads, I'm sure this is why the iPads could not release at the September event, and there is a chance we see a November release, but an October launch for these iPads. Anyways, let's delve into your comments. So PTYTY says, let's hope the camera will produce a good result. The M1 iPad Pro have a good camera module, but the results are not that great. And to be honest, I'm not expecting a lot from the cameras with the M2 iPad Pros, and I don't think that matters as such because not many consumers are taking pictures with their iPads. They have iPhones for that. Really, the iPad camera is for scanning documents, and so for that use, it's more than fine. So Milton wants the camera to be in a landscape orientation, otherwise he would get the M1 version instead. And yeah, fair enough, because I do think the iPads have kind of matured hardware-wise, and so without getting actual proper upgrades, many should just consider getting the M1 instead. However, with the introduction of Dynamic Island, I do think there is a chance we could see that on the iPads in a landscape orientation that, of course, many consumers are going to appreciate. So Opus Digital Audio says, I think the Air will get the 11-inch size, and the new Pro sizes would be 12 inches and 14 inches. Now, we have heard about bigger iPad Pros coming pretty soon, but that is not going to be the case with the M2 models. However, yes, I can see Apple doing this in the near future because there needs to be more differentiation with the iPads, especially with the iPad Pro 11-inch and the iPadOS. So of course, giving us bigger screen sizes would do just that. Anyways, that's about it, but tell me your thoughts regarding these reports in the comments. Anyways, thank you for watching, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe for the latest Apple news and rumors. Check out above on details regarding the iPhone 14 series. And on that note, see ya peeps.